So when is the right time to talk to children about pornography, or how do you handle the topic when a child brings it up? Well, put simply, we need to talk to kids about porn before they have access to the internet. Now don't freak out, you don't actually have to talk about the topic of porn. But developmentally, it's important to talk to kids about safe internet decisions and safe behaviours when they're online before it's developmentally important to talk to them about the topic of sex, or certainly before they're developmentally ready. Unfortunately, the current statistics tell us that it's not if my child will be exposed to porn, but when. And so as parents and caregivers and educators, we actually need to get in first. We need to give our children a framework and also the skills to be able to handle inappropriate internet content. A few little tips to start with. I encourage parents, caregivers and educators to remember the acronym AVA: Affirm, Validate and Acknowledge. We need to affirm any child that brings this question to us, who brings up these difficult and often awkward topics. Why? Because if you discourage that, they will take their question to another place. They will go to friends, they will go to the internet to find their answers. Classic story of a parent coming to a parents' night who said to me, "Paul, I wasn't going to come, but just today my child came out and said, 'Mummy, I typed in the letters SEX and I went to hit enter in Google and I thought I'd check with you.'" Now, if you shut that child down, if you scold that child in that moment, then it's highly likely they're not going to continue to come to that parent. So we need to affirm our children. We need to validate their question. It's good for you to ask that question. Thank you for bringing up that topic. I know that's an awkward topic, or it might be hard to bring that up, but I just want to congratulate you for actually coming to me. That was really mature. That was really good of you. And we need to acknowledge that this is actually difficult. It's probably difficult for the child, and it's certainly difficult for many parents. And it's okay to say that. These are tough topics, but let's walk through it together. Let's go on a journey and discuss this, and I want to have this conversation with you. So how do you have that conversation? Well, I like to use the words good pictures and bad pictures. Some people prefer the terms of private and personal parts versus public. Whatever you're comfortable with, but I think it's important to distinguish very clearly for a child that there's things that they can look at, there's things that are good, and there's things they shouldn't look at, and there's things that are bad. And so you broach the topic in that way. Particularly before children become teenagers, it's very easy and very clear to talk in this way to them. I encourage parents and caregivers to have an ongoing conversation. This is not a once-off. This is not ticking a box. Be ready for the cues that your child will give you. That perhaps they're looking at an image in a particular way. Perhaps they're acting weird around a particular technology or device. Or they're bringing things up in conversation. I want to encourage you to take everyday teachable moments. For me, this occurred one day when I was sitting outside with my wife, and up on my phone popped an image that I didn't want to look at. I took it off and I showed my wife in the process and said, "Hey, look what just came up on my phone." Now, of course, my 5-year-old daughter, she doesn't miss a trick, and she said, "Daddy, show me, I want to see, what was it?" Now, I could have quickly said, "Don't worry about it, it's not for you." But I said, "Darling, something popped up on my screen." It was a picture of someone that had parts of their body showing, their private parts, their special parts, and I didn't want to look at that, and I shouldn't look at that. So I took it off the screen and I showed Mummy. And you can do the same thing as well. I said, "Darling, if you ever see anything pop up on your screen, I want you to know that you've done nothing wrong, but you just do what Daddy just did and go to Mummy, show them the image, and then you can just take it off the screen." And so in doing so, we can normalise that this is something that's going to occur, and we can also instruct and model for our children what is a way to deal with inappropriate internet content, because it's something they're going to deal with for their entire life. Most of all, we need to provide a positive framework for healthy body image and sex education. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to talk about sex when you're talking about inappropriate internet images, but it's important that children don't get the incorrect idea that what they've seen or their private parts in their body are bad. So we need to make sure that we affirm and encourage them in what they know about the human person and human sexuality, that their body is good, that their special parts are exactly that, special and beautiful, and when they're ready, that sex is good and sex is a gift. I hope this has been helpful, and I really encourage you on this difficult but super important topic.